doing, man?
Great Irish person.
Yeah. It's Great Scott because the Scot is supposed to be Scottish. Is that what that's meant to be?
I have no fucking clue, but...
Because I always presumed it was like a guy called Scott that people were like, oh yeah, this guy's really great. Great Scott.
Yeah, but it's not going to be his
Of
first...
surprise, amazement, or dismay.
It's not going to be his first name, though.
It is frequently assumed that Great Scott is a minced oath of some sort, Scott replacing God. But that might not be very true. Alternatively, it's been suggested it might be a corruption of the South German Austrian greeting. Oh Christ, I'm not going to try and say that.
A corruption?
You know that, like... Well, it says Grus Gott. A corruption, so Grus Gott. I suppose that kind of works. An early reference to Sir Walter Scott as the Great Scott is in a poem written in 1830.
Yep.
Winifred Scott is a guy, apparently.
Yep.
And it's a poem.
F. Scott Fitzgerald.
No, he's not on the Wikipedia page, but could be him. Who knows?
He wrote The Great Gatsby, I think.
Yes, he did.
So there you go. Trivia time with Lewis and Danny.
Trivia time with Lewis and Danny.
Yeah.
My favourite fact about like vintage authors and stuff. You know Lewis Carroll that wrote Alice in Wonderland?
Yeah.
He actually was like a mathematician.
Oh, really?
So for years and years he was writing like mathematical textbooks and stuff. He wrote that one novel pretty much, and then went back to maths textbooks. And Queen Victoria absolutely adored Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, or whatever the original book was called, and said, "You must let me have a first edition of your next book as soon as it's printed." And he said, "Yes, of course, Your Majesty." And then the next book he printed was like a book about trigonometry or something, like a textbook. So she was delivered this textbook on maths and was like, "What the fuck is this?"
I bet she was raging when she found out that the Red Queen was based on her.
Perhaps she was, yeah. Or perhaps she liked it.
Yeah, maybe.
We'll never know.
You know, maybe she
Queen Victoria was like widely regarded to be a cock in her lifetime. Like a lot of people that met her and interacted with her have written in their writings, she was like rude and
yeah, I mean,
horrible generally.
I don't know many monarchs that are lit up there with like fucking like Graham
just
Norton,
straight stand-up guys.
Graham Norton are like these really nice TV personality. I mean, they're probably going to be an arsehole.
I'll tell you what's a TV personality I've recently started to like more than I have previously.
Who?
Wow, that's a lot of qualifications. Alan Carr. I've started to like Alan Carr more recently. I used to think... Because I used to watch Chatty Man, and as a rule, I'd sort of loathe chat shows. So my parents would put that on, and I'd be like, oh, Jesus, I'll go and find something else to do.
Yeah.
Because I just don't enjoy the chat show format. But then he started like doing guest judging on Drag Race, and he was on The Masked Singer this weekend.
Yeah.
And I quite like him. He's funny, isn't he?
Yeah, he's funny.
I've seen obviously I've seen his stand up, and his stand up was good.
Yeah.
I think I just don't like chat shows.
I mean, you would like chat shows if you got to have your own chat show. Like if a TV executive came to you and said, "Lewis, we've been listening to the podcast. We like the cut of your jib, and we want to give you your very own chat show." You wouldn't go, "No, as a rule, I."
No, I'd say it's been my lifetime dream to have a chat show.
Yeah, if you just don't listen to any of the
work with you on it.
podcasts, please don't listen to any more in case they find it.
Yeah, that's precisely what I'd do. Yeah, would you host a chat show?
Of course I fucking would. Are you kidding on?
No, well, yeah, okay, good point.
I reckon.
Would you have like a theme of your chat show? Like Alan, like Chatty Man, the theme is kind of drinking, in a strange way.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Like he brings them on and then he makes them a drink and then they talk.
Mine's would.
Graham Norton, the Red Sofa. I suppose that's a theme.
Mine's would
in a
be.
roundabout way.
Mine's would be. Everyone would have to play Park Bench.
Oh, I see.
The drama game. Yeah. Everyone
I hate those improv drama games.
I fucking love them. They're so good.
Well, they can be good, but I think because everybody's played Park Bench so much, everybody has like 2 or 3 characters that they love to go to. So, like when you go into a workshop audition or something, we should probably say, just in case people don't know what Park Bench is. Park Bench, the idea is that like you have chairs or a bench or something in like a workshop audition, or like a drama class or whatever it might be, and then somebody will be sat on the bench, and you will sit next to them and have to improvise like a conversation or like just some kind of interaction.
Yeah.
And they might perhaps give the first person some vague inclination of, oh, you have to be a fisherman or something. But typically it's just completely improvised, completely random.
Yep.
And it's a game that lots of people play, and because lots of people play it, I think sort of tropes have built up over the years. Maybe like at least one person in the game will pretend to be a murderer. I that's what I find.
Yeah.
Which it's just it can be funny, but then how many times can you do that before it becomes not funny?
Yeah. I always pretend to be a germaphobe. Like,
Oh, that's a good one.
and just start spraying them and just wiping the seats and all that.
I really like that. Yeah.
Or the
I went for an audition. Sorry, go on.
No, on you go.
Well, yeah, like I was saying, I went for an audition in it's quite a while ago now. It was like a workshop audition, and as with a lot of workshop auditions, they wanted like an improvisation, but instead of park bench, they did like an art gallery.
Yeah.
So you would have to stand in the middle of this circle and like look at this imaginary piece of art and either describe it to the person next to you or have a back and forth with them about it, and it was sort of weirdly brilliant.
Yeah.
Like every now and then. The person leading the session would say, like knew all of our names. So they'd say, "Okay, you out of the ring," and then somebody else would have to jump in. So there's always at least two of you in the middle, and it was just sort of really good. I preferred that, I think, to park bench because it was a bit more. You had to think a bit harder.
Yeah, that does sound fun.
There you go.
That's the first thing I'm gonna do when I get out of lockdown. I'm gonna get some actors together, play some drama games. Daniel, we're going to see other members of the Fat. No, you're not. I'm going to fucking play some drama games. That's what I'm going to do. You haven't seen your cousins in years? Fuck them. I don't care.
I don't care. It's time for drama games. Come on, we need to play park bench for 3 hours.
It's time to play the nun game.
The nun game? What's the nun game?
I'm sure I've spoke about this before on here, but you
might have done.
May as well just say it again. The nun game is where everyone stands in a circle and everyone's a nun, and you have to go to a person, and the only thing you can say is, "Sister, this is a very serious matter." But you can say it in any way that you want, and if the person laughs, then they're out.
I see. That sounds all right. I've played a similar game called Sausages.
Oh.
Where there are two people in conversation and one of them can only say sausages. So the object of the game is to get the person saying sausages to laugh. So I've seen vaguely horrific things like, and how did your son die? Sausages. And things like that, and then to even more absurd and ridiculous things. So that's a slightly similar game, I suppose.
How did your son die? Sausages. Yeah, that's a good game. But I have.
Right, have we got it?
Yeah, I had some bullshit prepared, but we've been busy talking about drama game. Right, okay, I'm going to spin the wheel.
Okay, hit it.
That was a good spin, wasn't it?
It was really good, yeah. I was emotionally invested in that spin.
Why does Creed need 3 chairs?
Hang on. Why does Creed need 3 chairs?
Yeah.
Creed? Who's
Creed
what?
From The Office.
Oh, right. Okay.
Have you ever seen The Office?
I've seen The Office. I'm watching through it now. I haven't seen him have 3 chairs yet. I'm on season 6. Does he have 3 chairs later?
No, but it's like a throwaway line, and it's like I think, I can't remember. Someone's leaving, and Creed is waiting for that to happen so that he can get their chair.
Right.
And he's speaking to the camera. And he says, "When whoever leaves, I get their chair, which means I'll have 2 chairs, only 1 to go." That's
a good question. Yeah. Why does he need 3 chairs?
Is it to?
I like that. Creed
is it
is
to
such a
summon
force of
an
chaos.
eldritch horror from the void?
Yeah, he's going to make a summoning circle out of office chair. Well, a summoning triangle, I suppose.
Yeah.
maybe it's like I can only think it's some kind of money-making scheme. That seems to be what a lot of his things revolve around. Like when they thought the office was going to shut down, and he started selling off bits of his computer. So people were coming to the office and saying, "I'll give you $200 for that monitor," and he would just hand it to them and walk away with a load of money. So maybe it's some kind of money-making scheme.
Yeah, or he's also a kleptomaniac, so
Yeah, because he stole the blood.
yeah, he just
from
steals
that blood
stuff. He's like,
drive.
he did say that once, didn't he? He was like, "I love to steal. I'll steal anything." they just show him going about nicking stuff.
That bit where oh god, who was it? They turned up. I think it might have been Holly or Jan when they turned up, and they said to him, "So what is it you do here?" Because he works in quality assurance, and he couldn't remember what it was, and he was stood in the kitchen, and the camera crew were filming, and he was like, "Who does this woman think she is, turning up and asking everybody what they do? Oh my god, what do I do? It must have a name. Quality abhorrence? It's something like that. I can't remember."
Yeah, I've because obviously The Office has been on like UK Netflix for like just a wee bit now, so I've been watching it, and I watched the Ricky Gervais version and I really liked it. But I knew like I actually like the US version a bit better because it's like it's more akin to like Parks and Rec, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, it's the same team behind it. It's
Yeah.
I can never remember. It's Gore Shaw, Dan Gore and Michael Shaw, or Michael Gore and Dan Shaw. I can never remember which is which. But because they did The Office, followed by Parks and Rec and B99 and The Good Place, and it's like this heartfelt comedy, which I think you don't see a lot of.
Yeah.
But mostly because they've completely fucking nailed it.
Yeah.
Like it'd be hard to improve on the sort of style of comedy they've created, really.
I think Leslie Knope is like if Michael Scott was like a good person. Like
Yeah, I know what you mean, yeah.
if he was more fulfilled, that's probably what he would be. Just like not horrible and inappropriate, but just, you know, a bit too nice, a bit sort of, you know, very sort of hard working and go getting.
I think it's with Parks and Rec and The Office. I was talking to Chloe about this, and she made the very valid point that like The Office is kind of more believable than Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I've met 100 people like Jim in my lifetime, but I have never met anyone like Leslie Knope, or even Tom Haverford, who's vaguely normal, or even Ben Wyatt, who is even more vaguely normal.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like I think because The Office is more believable, it's perhaps a bit more emotive. Though there is obviously a soft spot in my soul for Parks and Rec.
Yeah, definitely. It's very like the funny thing is like these shows. It's very easy to make them look really dark, and like, if you just sort of take away the sort of the comedic tone, it's like it would probably be like about a really horrible sort of attention-seeking boss.
Yeah, it becomes like a weird suburban hell.
Yeah.
In some strange way. That's fucking Dwight Schrute and his fucking beet farm. It's like such an obscure, strange thing. And I mean, I get it, but I don't know, it's like I can never decide whether it's a brilliant stroke of writing genius or a stroke of writing laziness. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, is it extremely brilliant to say, oh, the reason Dwight did that is because on his farm they have a tradition where at the age of 14 everyone must learn how to breathe fire, or whatever it might be. Or is that kind of lazy writing? To say, oh yeah, the reason Dwight can skin a mule deer is because they learn to on Schrute farms. And then you just have to leave it there and go, yeah, they learn to on Schrute farms, that's fine.
I mean, Dwight is like, just as like a person, is like a far just more improved sort of character when like it comes to his British sort of counterpart. Like,
I haven't actually watched the UK Office.
Oh, it's so much worse. It's like, you know, there's like redeeming moments for a lot of these characters in the US version, but like Ricky Gervais as David Brent is like irredeemable. Like, it's really, some of it is like, oh my god, I can't believe I've just watched that.
Yeah, I think that's what you kind of like about Michael Scott, is like his heart is sort of violently in the right place.
Yeah.
Like, he's desperately trying to do good, but he just barely has 2 brain cells to rub together to make it happen.
Yeah.
So it's like desperately trying to do the right thing in situations. But like even in that the really horrific thing where he says he'll pay for the university fees for all those kids at like a local high school, and then he realizes he can't, and it's like, well, it's hard to say that that's an objectively bad thing.
Yeah.
Because he thought he would be able to, and he was just trying to do something really kind and really good.
Yeah.
But then he did sort of, what's the word, deceive them and pull the rug out from under them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's difficult to say in a funny way.
Yeah. What was it? What was it he said? Do I have to be liked? No, it's not some sort of compulsive need. I like to be liked. I need to be liked. But you know.
There are a lot of good throwaway lines in that show, like the one about how Dwight is like, you can institute emergency managerial powers, which just puts me in charge of everyone. And he has that thing that he slides over the managerial chart that just replaces every boss in the company with him. Just the management chart goes from like a slow sort of sloping thing to just Dwight lording his power over everybody in this bizarre system.
Yeah. No.
Oh, crikey.
Some of it is really funny. I agree. I'm getting into the later seasons now, and it's like, it's the formula still works, which is nice, but I'm eerily sort of waiting for it to sort of
drop off massively in quality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know when that'll happen. I'm sure it will, but it's not happened yet. So.
No, that's I think Brooklyn Nine-Nine skirted a bit too close to breaking the formula. I think it's I forget what it was now. It was because with Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I think the point at which it excels compared to a lot of other comedies is just the rapidity of it, because the characters are somehow incredibly complex, but also incredibly well known to the viewer.
Yeah.
So yes, Jake Peralta is like a sort of quite a complex character, really, but you still know him quite well, or at least it feels like you do.
Yeah.
So then it comes to a point where you can quite quickly write scripts where you can say a lot with not very much dialogue and not very much action. So like there was the Halloween heist one year, the one where Terry was taking the lieutenant's exam, and they were like trying to get him there on time, and it was all part of the heist and everything. And that was like came very close to breaking down because it was so quick and so fast paced that you didn't really have any time to laugh at the jokes because you were hearing the next one.
Yeah. And
it was like, yeah, great, I love it. I love this fast paced nature of things, but maybe just take a breath for just 5 seconds. Just take a breath. Although I will say, I love Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and my favourite episode is the one where Jake and Captain Holt get a confession out of the dentist guy. Have you seen that one?
I don't think I have.
Oh, it's a fucking masterpiece. It's so good. It's like almost... Like if it was a stage play, I would happily just sit there and watch these actors perform it again. And it feels like a stage play in a lot of ways. And it's literally the entire episode is this guy, at the start he's brought into the interrogation, and he's very confident, and he thinks he's got this airtight alibi and all this sort of stuff. And then they slowly sort of like interrogate him in different ways, and long story short, they're like, I know he did it. I know he did this. Look how smug and smarmy he is.
Yeah.
And sort of the viewer is like watching him as if to say like, well, yeah, he is kind of smug and smarmy, and the only reason he knows the answers to all these questions in this interrogation is because he must have prepared for this in advance. He's done the crime. He's definitely done the... But then through the episode, like, Jake Peralta starts interrogating him, and Captain Holt joins in, and you're like, oh, well, maybe he didn't then.
Yeah.
Maybe there's like a couple... Maybe his story is actually the truth, or whatever it is. Then right at the end... Jake goes in and accuses him of, like, accidentally, essentially, committing the perfect murder. And he's like, you accidentally left your phone in your office so that we couldn't track you out into the woods where you buried his body. You accidentally did this. You accidentally did this. And the dentist guy stands up and starts screaming in his face, like, I planned everything. I'm a genius. I killed him with a special rod of dental polymer. That doesn't even exist anymore. It's in some fucker's mouth. And he's like really screaming in his face about how he's committed the perfect crime.
Yeah.
But he's just spent 23 hours like covering up for himself and hiding the fact that he's done this crime. And you just see this look of realization come down his face, and he sits down and he's like, "Oh my god, oh, I've just put myself in it." And like, it's this enormous moment of almost redemption and vindication for Captain Holt and for Jake, because they're like, we that was amazing. Like through just sheer use of evidence and willpower and stuff, we've managed to make this killer confess when he thought he was just going to walk free. And it's like, just right at the end of the episode, they leave the precinct and they're out on the street. And it's like, well, I'll see you tomorrow then. And then he looks down at his watch and says, "No, you won't. Your shift starts in 5 minutes." And then he just walks back into the building and gets on with his next shift. And he's like, "I love this job so much," and walks back into the precinct. And it's like, it's utterly... the episode itself is so good.
Yeah.
It's just such a brilliant character study of these two people and their sort of unique dynamic.
What's the episode called?
Oh, Christ, now you're asking. I think it might even just be called The Confession.
The Confession. Do you know what series it is?
I do, bear with me. Jake and Captain Holt. Jake and Captain Holt get a guy to confess. Well, The Confession, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. The Box? Yeah, The Box it's called.
The Box.
It is Season 5, Episode 14.
Right. Well, I'm gonna.
It is
even though you've told me everything that happens, I'll I'll definitely give it a watch.
No, it's very good. Jake embarks on an all-night-long interrogation in order to elicit a confession out of a suspect. But when Captain Holt skips the opera in order to stay back and help, the two cops clash over how to get him to talk. But it's like, it's just so good. It's really good.
Yeah. No, I'll give that a watch.
Fantastic.
But
well,
anyway.
Anyway, now that we've spoken about Brooklyn Nine-Nine,
we are, we've probably got about half an hour left. we're gonna try and do the Back to the Future trilogy.
Yeah.
And it was directed by Robert Zemeckis, and it was written by Robert Zemeckis.
Brilliant name.
Yeah, it is. It's a fucking amazing
great name. If your name has a Z in it, you are immediately a really cool guy.
Definitely. Unless it's like Zebra or something.
Yeah, if your name's Zebra, then I might... In fact, I reckon if somebody was called Zebra, they'd probably just be really cool in general.
I don't know. But
you don't think?
If that day ever comes, I'll let you know.
Okay.
Written by Robert Zemeckis and Bob Gale, and is starring Michael J. Fox, Christopher Lloyd, Leah Thompson, and Thomas F. Wilson.
Indeed it is. Got an opening statement, Cocker?
And others.
And others.
Yep. A trilogy.
I mean, it's 3 films. There are lots of people in this.
A trilogy of probably one of the most hated genres I've ever watched. Time travel. But they sure are a wild ride, and the DeLorean looks cool as fuck. So.
I would say masterful trilogy. It's like you say, the most hated genre of time travel, and I think Back to the Future is perhaps one of the most universally loved films of all time.
Yeah.
So how have they managed to pull that off in this greatly hated genre? Do you know what I mean? What I've got written down here is the more things change, the more they stay the same. Obviously, they're good movies, but I think it's just like that's what I really like about these films is they say something about the inevitability of like the human condition.
Yep.
And of like life carries on. Tomorrow will be tomorrow. Doesn't matter what happens today. Do you know what I mean? That's something I really like about these movies.
Definitely. Do you have any creepy room questions, statements?
I have a number of them. It's right. Obviously, these movies are really good. We know this. I think first 2 were good. They were filmed side by side, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And then the third one was maybe not necessary, but it was kind of a good film. I quite enjoyed it. What did you think of it?
I agree. I think the third one was maybe not as necessary, but yeah, they're pretty good films.
Yeah, my favourite bits and bobs about this are very specific things. Like when Marty is performing was it like an audition he's doing at the start of the first one?
Yeah.
He's performing The Power of Love by Huey Lewis and is it The News? Huey Lewis and The News?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and on the panel of 4 that are judging them, the bloke who stands up with the glasses and the megaphone, that is Huey Lewis of Huey Lewis and the News fame. And it's just little things like that crop up a lot in these films. They're just weirdly good.
Yeah.
Like when they go right forwards in time in the second one. I watched these in extremely quick succession, so now I'm getting them all muddled up. But when they go sort of forward in time, and that shark, like the Jaws a million or whatever it is, leaps out of the cinema and sort of almost attacks Marty on the street.
Yeah.
That shark is... Sorry, the director for that film is listed as Steven Spielberg's son.
Oh, really?
Sam Spielberg or something. Yeah,
I didn't notice
if I'm
that.
remembering right. I think... Oh, God, I'm going to have gotten this wrong now. Please be right. Yeah, here we go. Max Spielberg, yeah. Steven Spielberg's son.
That's a nice...
Which is just like a... Yeah, Jaws 19, damn.
I know, like... I do love it how these films try and predict what the future's going to be. And 2015 was just like nothing like when it was in this film. It was like, it was pretty just meh. But
right, the original McFlys in 1985, the first 1985 McFlys from right at the start of the first one. That's like a weird suburban hell.
Yeah,
that you sort of don't see portrayed very often. It's a lot of the time, horror movies and stuff, they revolve around like, ooh, Pennywise is lurking around the corner and he's going to dance over to you and then bite your face off or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
But it's weird to see such a sort of depiction of a suburban hell. The closest I've ever come is like, we've spoken about this podcast before on our podcast, weirdly, but the Magnus Archives, this horror podcast I really like.
Yep.
I'm sort of binging through a big chunk of it now, so it's quite often I'm thinking of it, but they sort of deal with that suburban hell quite well as well, and they sort of talk about how loneliness is like a sort of a unique type of horror, and so is like sort of domestic nightmares are like a sort of slightly different thing, and it's just sort of it's very rare you see that undercurrent of suburban hell, which is it's weirdly nice in a strange way to see it creep into a film, and you're like, God, that's like it's a great life, don't get me wrong, but it's also slightly terrifying in a weird way.
Yeah, there's...
Like, they're just comfortable enough that they've removed challenge from their life.
Yeah.
But in such a way that it's sort of horrendous.
My favourite sitcom, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, has a whole episode where two characters called Dennis and Mac, move to the suburbs and they make a bet with Danny DeVito that they can live there for an entire month without going crazy. Because they live in the city and they're sort of used to that sort of lifestyle, and they're obviously, because they're horrible people who react to change, fucking, just completely against change in all of its aspects, and it starts off pretty good, everything's sort of nice, but by the end of it, they've killed a dog, Dennis. Who's the worst of the bunch is threatening to kill the neighbour for saying hello to him and saying, "Oh, it's sunny out today," and he's like, "Yeah, it fucking is, isn't it? It's really fucking sunny, isn't it?" He's just going off his nut. So I think that the sort of niceness of somewhere can also be kind of unsettling. It's because nowhere is that nice.
Yeah, it's sort of the that's sort of what I haven't watched a lot of these classic horror movies, so you might have to help me here. But is it Halloween where he's lurking in the suburbs?
That's right.
That's sort of what makes that great. That's the horror of suburbia. Is walking past a row of houses that is like, oh yeah, they're all kind of identical, and they're all like neatly trimmed lawns and pansies in the edges and stuff like that. And then but then what if behind closed doors there's a psycho killer with a what's not Mike Myers mask? What am I looking for? The horrifying mask, anyway, from that movie. And he's got a big knife. Do you know what I mean? That's sort of the horror of these suburban slashers.
The Mask of William Shatner.
Yes, Mask of William Shatner. How weird is that?
I know, it's so fucking strange. Biff is probably one of the most disgusting characters ever to be put to film.
Yes, 100%. And do you know who he's based on?
Who?
Donald Trump.
Really?
Yes, his characterization, especially in the second one, but in the second and the first and third, based on Donald Trump. Yeah, this sort of disgusting, sort of bloke rolling in monies magnate who's morally compromised and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah. Just a big sort of oafish bully who just you know uses his fists, you know,
to get what he wants.
Definitely,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Is that like was there like an interview on that, or is that like actually, or is that just because the similarities are so striking?
I'm fairly sure that was sort of revealed. Based on as the October 2015, media outlets began noting the similarities. Oh, okay. Oh, when the comparison was brought to Gale's attention in an interview, he revealed, "Yeah, thanks Google. That's a really useful part of."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we were thinking about.
Oh. Damn.
Who the fuck is Gale? What?
Yeah,
Bob Gale.
Bob Gale. Yeah, he wrote.
Sorry, yeah,
He wrote the first one.
Just as it's written in this sentence, because it's like quite far down the article, it's not at all obvious who Gale is.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I'm only reading from halfway through, but who the fuck is Gale? It took me a second.
Yeah.
But yeah, both the Daily Beast and
Rolling Stone note the similarities of Biff's casino penthouse
to Trump's Plaza Hotel and Casino. Additionally, the Beast points out that in Back to the Future Part 2, Biff uses the profits from his 27-story casino to help shake up the Republican Party, before eventually assuming political power himself, helping transform Hill Valley, California into a lawless dystopian wasteland where hooliganism reigns, dissent is quashed, and wherein Biff encourages every citizen to call him America's greatest living folk hero.
Wow.
So
That yeah, pretty similar then. I mean, speaking of Biff, like, you know, Biff does have some similarities to this podcast because he has a lot of experience with bullshit.
Yeah,
I like that one.
Quick, everybody, let's have a
Somewhere.
Yeah.
Perfect. That was brilliant. I like that very much.
If you don't get that, that's because like, in every film he like falls in shit or like is covered in shit at some point.
It's quite a weird thing to have as like a comedic through line. Is this character in every film he just falls into a big pile of shit.
Yeah.
Imagine if that was in his contract, just like the start of the films. Oh, by the way, is it all right if for every movie in this trilogy we just dump a big pile of shit on you? Is that all right?
Do you think it was like proper shit?
No, I don't.
How do you know?
I think that would get him very sick.
How do you know?
Because of workers' unions.
Oh.
Because I doubt that like they would be willing to make one of their lead actors extremely sick.
Well, I mean, like, when was Kill Bill released?
I've got not a fucking.
If it was after this film, then like, I can believe that they would make actors that sort of weighed about in shit.
Kill Bill 1 was released in 2003.
Right. Okay. So yeah. So Quentin Tarantino put Uma Thurman in a car that she said she didn't feel sort of safe driving, and then and then she crashed into a tree because it was unstable or something like that, and she really fucking hurt her neck. So I think that even back then they were still fucking sort of now just shut up and do it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe. I'd like there's you do watch like sort of campy American high school movies where they just throw a radio at some guy's head.
Yeah.
And then you're sitting there thinking, wasn't that a radio made of rubber or foam or something?
Yeah.
Then you look it up and it's like, no, he broke 3 of his teeth doing this. It's like, fucking hell.
When was The Shining released?
Oh,
was it before or after this
closing
film?
Google Chrome. The Shining, 1985. The Shining, 1980.
Right. So I mean, Shelley Duvall was treated like utter shit in that film.
Yes, she was, because people for some reason liked to give Stanley Kubrick a lot of space to do horrific things.
Yeah, she would just be because her performance, she just looks really fucking worn down, really tired, and it was like that. Kubrick sort of said that was part of his method or whatever to try and get the performance more sort of real, which fuck you, Darren.
Yeah, deeply fuck you. If you don't
trust an actor to give you a performance that you're asking for, then
you can't.
What the hell?
You can't abuse an actor and then just go, "Oh, it was part of my method."
It's part of my method.
He chopped his arm off, but it's my method of getting.
Oh Jesus, yeah. Because her hair was like falling out from stress on the set of The Shining.
Oh yeah.
And she'd like give it to Kubrick and say, "There you go, that's what you've done to me."
Yeah.
And he'd be like, "Ha, fucking hilarious."
Yeah. No. So that's. You know, he was...
To break up the Back to the Future chat. Sorry, to break up the Shining chat.
No, we've already done that. We've already broken up the Back to the Future.
Darius, one of our patrons, has sent in some opinions about Back to the Future, which we are now going to read. You ready for it, Dan?
I am.
Fantastic. Back to the Future review. Some kind of interesting facts. Hill Valley's town square is Universal Studios parking lot, the same place the Friends sofa is.
Oh.
How cool's that?
I didn't know
That's
that.
kind of weird, isn't it? No, neither did I. There was a fact about the Friends fountain that I knew and now I've forgotten. And they shot 12 weeks of film with a different actor because they couldn't get their first choice, Michael J. Fox.
It was
fucking hell.
A guy called Eric Stoltz, who was in a film called Mask, and he just didn't have he didn't have the comedic chops to carry it on. So Steven Spielberg got rid of him.
Oh God.
And he was a method actor, so he would insist that everyone called him Marty on set. And it just wasn't working, and they just sort of said, no, sorry.
I can't believe that it took the writers 5 years to actually sell the idea of Back to the Future. God, that's incredible.
Really?
Apparently so, yeah. That actually, now that I think about it, that does ring sort of true, because I think it was Rocky, and Sylvester Stallone wrote it. If you can believe that. And he took the script to like over 100 different studios or something before it actually got commissioned. Because he was very particular. He was like, no, we're filming this exact movie how it is in the script. I don't want to change a thing.
They didn't want him playing
so it took him ages
Rocky
to get it commissioned.
as well.
Was that it?
Yeah, and he was like, no, that's a deal breaker. I'm playing Rocky.
Oh, okay.
So,
Damn.
Yeah.
Back to the Future is perfectly cast, especially with its leads Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd. This is my favourite film of all time. It basically tells you that your parents are usually hypocrites and have probably done everything you do. It's a very interesting story, but now notice how depressing the ending is, because the family Marty goes back to isn't really his because of how much he changed history. That is a really good... I'm sorry, I'm pausing here. That's a really good point. It's like... point. Almost Rick and Morty, you know that bit when they skip into the other dimension and replace their own corpses?
Yeah.
This is kind of that in a horrifying way. Anyway, also, did you know this film and Trilogy have the same composer as most of the Avengers movies? Oh, that's interesting.
Really?
Oh, I can't remember his name. Steve something. Let me Google him quickly.
Composer.
Is it not? No, it's...
Alan Silvestri.
Yeah,
yes.
That's right.
He's features on my work playlists terrifyingly regularly.
Yeah. My favourite one he did was Portals. You know, the big sort of...
Portals.
The big sort of...
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Side note, time travel makes more sense here than in Endgame, which calls this film bullshit, which it's not. It's a great film and an okay trilogy. I mean, yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, Endgame was so fucking strange with its time travel.
Yeah, it was a bit. I walked out the cinema still not really understanding it in like 3 hours of time travel.
I don't think the writers did either.
Do you agree with the creators that Back to the Future should never have a remake? Yeah.
Yes.
I think I do, really. I think if you're going to make remakes of things that aren't very good. Do you know what I mean? There's no point remaking Alien. You're not going to make a more suspenseful horror. Do you know what I mean? Finally, I try to live by a quote in this film. If you put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything. That's a really good one. I like that.
I agree. That's really good.
There's that quote from... I can't believe I'm about to say this, but Harry Potter, where I think it's Ginny. Oh, Christ. Got a weird notification. Where Ginny says something like, well, growing up with Fred and George always made me think that you can do anything if you can do anything you put your mind to if you've got enough nerve. And I think it's quite a chaotic sort of philosophy, but I quite like it in a strange way.
Yeah, you know, it's a shame that we never found out who wrote that good bit of dialogue.
Yeah, those books just appeared in like a forest once.
Yeah,
I no idea why.
Sorry, I'm just about to sneeze. Turf. Sorry about that, folks.
Oh yeah, that's
certainly something. Let's not talk.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about that. Anyway, Christopher Lloyd is really good in this. And this is one of my notes. I know it was in Darius's little thing as well, but Christopher Lloyd is really good in this. It's I think if you didn't have Christopher Lloyd, I can't think of a better actor to play that character. Is what I'm trying to say.
I agree.
It's like he does such a good job consistently. You know, he's still acting now. He's like 80 something. He's still acting.
What has he done recently?
To be perfectly honest, the only thing he's done recently, as far as I can remember, was an advert for Kia where he played Doc Brown, I think.
Oh, I don't like that.
What's he done recently?
That annoys me.
Okay, he did a film called Back in Time. That was a documentary about thingy. Going in Style, which appears to be something starring Morgan Freeman.
Oh,
Let me have a look.
well, I like
Come on.
Morgan Freeman, so that's promising.
Going in Style is a comedy/crime film. Joe, Willie and Albert plan to rob the bank that swindled them out of their pensions money in order to come through for themselves and their loved ones. That released in 2017.
Oh.
Have a look. Doc Brown Saves the World, 2015. My Favourite Martian, 1999.
He was
in Star Trek 3.
He's also done a spin-off. I don't know if he was in it, but there was like a spin-off animated series of like Doc and his family on the train at the end of the last film. It's like an animated sort of spin-off.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So he might have done that. I don't know if they get a different actor to...
Also, this utterly left my brain completely, but do you remember A Million Ways to Die in the West?
Yeah, he's in that.
Yeah, he's got like a cameo with the DeLorean and stuff. He's like hiding in a barn. He's like, oh fuck, and it closes the door.
You know that it's it's Seth MacFarlane's DeLorean.
Is it really?
He owns that, and he brought it into set just to film that scene.
That is very good. I like that very much. I love Seth MacFarlane. He's really good.
Yeah, I agree.
In 2021, a film is releasing called Nobody. A bystander who intervenes to help a woman being harassed by a group of men becomes the target of a vengeful drug lord. Apparently Christopher Lloyd is in this. What's his name? Better Call Saul. Bob Odenkirk is the lead character. I think you might have seen a trailer for this,
I
actually.
think so as well.
Oh, well, there we go. So, yeah, he's still acting. He's still doing stuff. It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. Right, it's time for some nitpicks, okay?
Okay, hit it.
Why, when Marty goes back to the 19th century and he meets like his ancestors, why is his like mum his like great grandmother when it's his dad's side of the family?
Oh, that's a good point. Maybe the gene pool in Hill Valley is just very shallow. It's just everybody looks a lot like each other for no real reason.
A whole lot of incest going on.
Yes, a deeply concerning amount.
Jesus Christ. Wait, okay, so how did Doc created like a time machine in the 80s, and it was a car, with all the technology there, and then when he goes back to the 19th century, it makes like a fucking flying train. How does that happen?
Yeah, that is a bit of a weird one. I always took it to be that he made the flying train in like the far-flung future. But that, like, does that make sense? So, like, he made the time travelling work on the train, and time travelled to, like, 2100, and then put some hover wheels on it, and went back to the 80s.
That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I always thought it was.
Fair enough.
Here's a question as well. This is another bit of a nitpick. How did Doc Brown know where the car would reappear? In the first one, when he's first doing his first time travel test with Einstein in the front seat.
Yep.
The car, he sort of grabs Marty and shoves him and says, "Get out of the way, car's going to come back," sort of thing. And then it reappears sort of between them or just next to them. How did he know? It's his first time doing it. How did he know it wouldn't have sort of moved a bit?
Maybe he didn't, and it was like just in case.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Although it is a bit insane to think, why put the dog in there? Like,
yeah.
If it's his very first time doing it, oh, this is my beloved dog, I'm going to put it in this thing that might just atomize it.
Yeah, he could control it, couldn't he? He was like controlling it with his remote, wasn't he?
Yeah, but he's doing animal testing on his own dog, essentially. It's like if I said to you, "Oh, Danny, there's a cure for this obscure disease.
Yeah, couldn't you have found...
Would you like to give it to your dog?"
Couldn't you have found like a rat or something, or a...
Exactly.
Like,
rather than statistic about how you're never more than 2 meters away from a rat.
Yeah.
So couldn't he have found one?
Rather than your dog.
Or couldn't he have just put the what's the word? The stopwatch in the car taped it to the seat or something.
Yeah.
And then just said, okay, now I'm going to remote control this car.
Maybe he needed to see how it would work on flesh. I don't know.
Yeah, also, why did he... There was no need for him to drive the car directly at himself and Marty.
Yeah.
He could have just driven it in a straight line
exactly.
in any other direction.
Get out the way!
But no, he chose for the drama to do it in that direction.
So, like, see when they're like moving the train sort of pushing the DeLorean down the track?
Yeah.
Like, are we sure it doesn't need fuel? Like, to just work? Like, it can just work by being pushed really fast? Like, is that how that works?
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, because he says it's the 1.21 gigawatts.
Yeah. I assume that the car sort of needs fuel for it to like actually go, and that would like sort of interface with the machinery around it. I didn't realise you could literally just push it. Like, why would you make it a car then? Like, why would couldn't you just attach it to like a backpack and run really fast or something? Like, well, obviously not 88 miles per hour, but like, you know that.
If I know what you're saying, but if I remember right, I think the flux capacitor time travel system and the actual car were separate, weren't they? So like,
yeah, that's true.
The Marty broke the fuel pump or whatever, driving over a big rock. But the time travel circuits, you just loaded it full of old mouldy bananas and beer, and somehow that was a small fusion generator that gave you enough power to do the time travel.
Yeah. So the car is just a car, and there's a time machine sort of strapped onto it, almost.
Yeah, which is
That makes-
quite strange, actually. Now you come to think of it, a car with a time machine strapped to it could have used anything else,
Yeah.
including something that accelerates more quickly than a car, like a motorbike or something.
Yeah, that would have been
Or a
that would have been
plane.
cool.
Yeah,
A flying motorbike that could, that'd be pretty cool.
yeah, like Tron style.
Exactly.
Put some big neon lights on the back and draw some weird time travel lines.
Definitely. But
The cars in the 50s. It's something that always pops through my head whenever you see a film set in the 50s or thereabouts, is that the cars are always really gorgeous, but utter death traps.
yeah,
You always see those cars and think, that's really pretty, and like the colour of it and the shape of it and whatever, and then you think, yeah, but a slight bump with like a road traffic sign, instant death. They're utter death traps, those cars are. So,
definitely.
Flip the dice between looking cool and death.
I mean, you've got to choose cool, don't you?
Well, yeah, that's why I eat uranium. Gives my face a green glow.
Yeah.
That just looks so cool.
That's why.
But,
That's why I sleep with TNT, because it makes my skin go yellow, and like.
Yeah, that was what they did in was it factories in like World War Two?
Yeah, the canaries.
People working on the assembly lines. They used to like take the active ingredient from the TNT and use it to bleach their hair.
That's right, and the women that sort of worked there were like nicknamed canaries because their skin was like turned yellow because of it.
That's crazy.
It's kind of fucking sick. It's like,
Yeah, terrifying.
yes, no, but just the nickname, like, rather than holy shit, let's get you some help. Ha, you fucking canary, look at you. Oh.
Well, it's the good old days when people pulled themselves up by their bootstraps and worked in a factory that turned their skin a really weird colour.
Yeah,
The good old days,
the good old days where you choked of factory fumes. Amazing.
It was a weird choice to have George McFly be a peeping Tom. That was a weird choice because it just.
There was a far more sort of lax sort of view of that, like in the 80s.
Yeah, I suppose so. Because nowadays, I'd say that's considered much more horrific than at least how any of the characters react to it in the film.
Yeah, like
The characters react to it like, oh well, that's really, that's just him.
like Marty's mum is just like, essentially the victim of these perverts. Like,
Yeah.
First you've got George, who's like a fucking stalker, Biff, who's like a full-on like rapist, and that ginger guy at the end, who's like, just sort of taking her against, like, come on, dance. It's like, who the fuck was that guy?
Yeah.
So he just shows up and just says, no, you're dancing with me. Like, but he wasn't in any other part of the film, I don't think. He just sort of shows up.
Maybe it's like a weird cameo from someone that was famous at the time.
Maybe.
Like, you see that quite often when you have like a celebrity appearance in a film. Like, oh god, I forget what movie it is. I think it might be Batman and Robin, the George Clooney one. Where,
so shit.
yeah, horrendous. But like, they had a celebrity appearance from like a singer, and the singer was there singing on stage.
I think so. And then, like, you watch it back and you're like, I have got no idea who this celebrity is.
Yeah, there was a lot of celebrity cameos. Like Tom Jones was in Mars Attacks. As like an actual character as himself that was in it for a considerable part of the film. It's like the Martians take over the sort of place that he's singing at in Vegas, and then he just gets taken along for the ride, and everyone's like, "Oh, you're Tom Jones. You got an album coming out, am I right?" Like, so it was just some promotion there, like while they're getting killed by Martians. When's the album coming out, Tom? But yeah, so I think I'm out of notes.
I think I'm also out of notes. The one thing I do want to say, the unbroken shot from the start of the first one. What good visual storytelling that is.
Definitely.
It's I think often nowadays we have a lot of things that are like very pretty storytelling, but it's like I forget what it was, the review of something now. I can't remember what, but there was like a director that said this person has learned that they're supposed to tilt the camera, but they don't know why. So like they're doing it a lot in the film, but they don't really know why. But this is like a good example of how and why an unbroken shot can be very good in a film. Is because you see a lot of things in this one clean, smooth, unbroken shot.
Definitely.
And like you sort of go from like that thing on the TV about Libyan nationalists have claimed that there's missing plutonium order, and then it ends on that little bit of plutonium under the bed in a sort of suitcase. It's bizarre, but I'm really into it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. No, I agree completely.
I think I might also be out. I've got. I'd also like an automatic morning coffee / routine. If I could wake up and just say to my Google Home, "Make me a coffee," and it would do that. I'm aware that probably is a thing I can do now, but I mean, I don't have the time or money to make that happen.
Getting into some Black Mirror territory there.
Yeah, I'll say make me a coffee, and it'll make me a hot cup of poison.
Yeah.
And then it'll kill me, and then it'll pretend to be me.
Or like the Google Home Drive is actually powered with like the consciousness of a human that knows what you would like, and it's technically like electronic slavery.
Yeah, well, there we go. Maybe.
Boom.
I doubt it, but maybe.
Who knows? Who knows?
Exactly. Yes, I think I am also out of notes.
Do you have a closing statement?
I do have a closing statement. An elegant trilogy that has sort of gone down in history as sort of one of the greatest trilogies of all time. These films have a very special place in my heart. I'm a big fan.
Definitely. Don't think time travel hurts my head, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Yep.
It's kind of nice that they ended up drawing a graph of it in the first one.
Yes.
Where it was like, this is your original timeline, and then they drew a graph, and it's like kind of a good way to shoehorn in a good explanation.
Yeah. No, I agree. Well, that was Back to the Future.
Indeed it was.
Should we do some future shilling?
Yes, let's do some future shilling.
Oh my god.
Filling. No, I can't get anything out of that.
We all we both have link trees. Lewis's link tree is /linktree/Lewis Brindley. Mine is /linktree/O'Hiram. And the podcast's link tree is /linktree/Shouting into the Void. So go check them out. All our stuff will be on there, and it's pretty cool.
Sorry, what's that business with the slashes?
Yeah, it's just there's slashes at the beginning of
Oh, really? Okay. linktr.ee/whatever, right?
Well, that I'm only going with what I've written, Lewis. It might be wrong, but
I am blind in my compliance to this piece of paper.
Even if it said kill fucking James Blunt, I would still read it. But
to access our social media, you have to first kill James Blunt.
Jesus,
that would be a bit insane.
Yeah.
Right. I think we have a sponsor this week, Danny.
We do indeed.
Lovely stuff.
As we have had last week, an amazing sponsor called Right Side Yarns, and we have an ad that we're going to play now.
Danny, I've got some amazing news.
Oh, really? What?
I'm going to make you a hat.
Thanks. But why?
Well, because Right Side Yarns, who sell beautiful and unique wool, have recently released a new range.
Oh, I've heard of them. Aren't they that fantastic Scottish business that sells high-quality hand-dyed products perfect for crafting with?
They certainly are, and they're sponsoring the show.
Really? Have they heard the show?
Yes, and apparently they like it. Kezia, the owner of the business, has given us a generous 15% off code for any of our listeners to use.
Is that why you've got Void 15 written in your hand?
It is! If you or any of our listeners would like to use the code, simply enter Void15 at checkout with a capital V.
Great! Where do I check out?
You can go to their website at rightsideyarns.co.uk or check them out on Instagram at Kezia_rightsideyarns.
Fantastic! This hat you're making me better be good. Amazing!
That was amazing. I cried. Every time I hear that advert, I cry.
Yep, I'm crying right now.
From joy.
But just inconsolable.
Yeah, I am so thrilled by that advert and how amazing it is that I'm not going to lie to you, Dan, I can't even process all of the emotions that I'm feeling. They're so strong and powerful.
Profound.
I'm profound. That's the word. Yeah.
We also have a PayPal donate button. We're on Patreon, and we want to thank our wonderful, wonderful patrons. Chloe.
Thank you.
Darius.
Thank you.
Sophie.
Thank you.
Peter.
Thank you.
Aditya.
Thank you.
Richard.
Thank you.
And Natalie.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you one and all. You make this show possible, and we're very grateful to have you.
You do indeed. Yeah. It you allow us to do all the sorts of little things that you would not think are involved in running a podcast, but somehow they are. So thank you for allowing us to make this show. We absolutely love making it. So it means the world not only to know that people are listening, but that people love it so much that they want to support us and they want the show to keep going. If you would like to join their ranks, you can also submit your thoughts about an upcoming thing that we're doing, like Darius did with Back to the Future. You can go to patreon.com/shoutingintothevoid, and you can check us out and go, "Wow, that's good."
Yeah. Or, oh, that's bad. There you go, either or.
Although, don't do that, please.
Either or.
Either or.
We are also partnered with a wonderful company called Number 12 Crochet Avenue, and Lewis is going to say some wonderful things about them, all of which are true.
Number 12 Crochet Avenue is a wonderful little company which my wife runs, where she crochets things and she's very good at it. It deserves much more social media attention than it gets. So please do go and check it out at Number 12 Crochet Avenue on Instagram. It is a beautiful little crochet Instagram with pretty colours and themes and interesting things. Go and take a look. It would mean the world to me and to Danny and to my wife and to my cat.
Yes, absolutely. Well, that's us for this week. We have a good few things planned.
Indeed, we do.
So let's just spin the very undecided random wheel for what's next.
The wheel which has not selected things in advance at all. No.
Whee!
Again, Discord does not like to play the sound. Has it stopped?
Yeah, it's stopped now, yep.
Okay, right, yeah. Next week we are doing Bridgerton,
Woo!
which is a Netflix series recently been released. It's on Netflix. It's really good.
I haven't seen it.
Chloe and I,
Might be
we
shite.
watched the trailer and thought...
Say that again.
I haven't seen it. It might be shite.
It's, Chloe and I saw the trailer and thought, oh, that might be good. And then we proceeded to watch the first episode, and 24 hours later, we'd finished the whole thing. It was really good. If you haven't watched it, I would watch it in preparation for next week. But maybe don't watch it with, like, your nan. There's quite a bit of sex.
Yeah, I heard that.
So, yes, don't watch it with your nan, but do watch it. So, yeah, I'm quite excited to talk about it. It's like a perfect blend between Downton Abbey and Gossip Girl.
Right. Okay.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll have a lot to say about it next week.
Well, have a wonderful evening, morning, day, night, wherever you are.
Yep.
And we will see you next week to talk about Bridgerton, which I'm sure Danny will adore.
Yep. We will hear you, see you, ram your car into a truckload of shit next time.
Is there a better metaphor for this show than ramming a car into a truckload of shit?
Absolutely not, and there never will be.
But yes, thank you very much for listening.
Goodbye.
Bye.